All right, so back here on the 1978 Toyota pickup. So I was working on that piece of junk. The clutch started leaking, and so I had to finagle something, which is annoying, but whatever. Um, so I did get the panel in the back put in. Little Easter egg that'll probably piss some people off. My terrible handwriting, but the hell, I give a crap. So I think it's hilarious. So I got that all welded in. That welded in real nice. What's great about the heavier gauge stuff is it doesn't blow through quite as easily. I still had some little rod around for the occasional times that it did blow through, but just very few little blow throughs. And was able to get all along the ribs, all along the way around. The bed must be like a pretty decent gauge, like a 16 or something, because it welded real nice, and then the panel I made was out of 16 as well, so went pretty good. Nice and beef, real strong. I was standing on it, moving around and everything, and it's good with that little bit of curve in there and the bit of bead rolling. It's real strong. The way I ended up doing it, super simple. I just cut two profiles that of the arc that I wanted to get out of it. I wanted to give myself 3 inches of clearance, so I just measured up from here and got 3 inches, which is like 1.5 inches away from the top of the panhard bar bolt that's on that side. So if you recall, the panhard bolt is right in that area, and I gave myself like 1.5 inches of clearance, so I should be able to get that bolt off no problem. On this side, same thing, gave myself a bit more clearance. So if I get the bolt out, and I don't even think I'd need to take that one out over there. So for an adjustment, this one would be easier to spin around. So I'd just take this one out, spin it in order to adjust it, in order to move the rear end left or right. And I should be able to do that no problem, not having to take the bed off or anything. So that's pretty good. Yeah, it welded up pretty nice all the way, all the way around. And so, that should be sealed in there real good and structurally, super strong. I didn't have to get into this cross member that was on this side at all. I did cut a little bit more on this side, maybe like another extra inch on this side. And then I also made it centered. And so before, I was just cutting enough clearance to get to where the panhard bolt was on this side. And then I only had it cut originally to about right here. And so when I was laying out that arc, it just looked super goofy for it to not be centered. So I ended up, cutting way more on that far side than I need. Like, I don't need the clearance on that side at all. The panhard bar stops right here, and there's nothing over there. But I did cut a little bit extra on that side just for aesthetics, really, to just get the arc centered. So yeah, I mean, that's what we got going on. And like I said, it welded up pretty easy, so no big deal. So the thing I'm working on here is I'm seeing if I can get the engine out. Engine and trans stabbed out without checking the cab off, which is looking like I'll be able to. Now, I did take all the accessories off, so I don't know if it's real. I mean, I did take all the turbos, exhaust, the water lines. There's some exhaust lines that are in the back. Then on this side, the intake and injectors. It doesn't have a starter in it right now, so maybe, I'm lying to myself that I'd be able to get the engine out of here, engine and trans as one piece out of here without taking the cab off. So I don't know, maybe it would work, maybe it wouldn't, we'll see. I'm pretty well certain I'd be able to take it off if I disconnected the engine from the transmission, and so, the clearance that I would have there wouldn't be that big of a deal. And I, set up the tunnel to where even those bolts that are way back here, I definitely would be able to get to those. And so if I had to take the engine out and I didn't want to take the cab off, I definitely could do that in 2 steps. So, no big deal. I did end up disconnecting the transmission from the mount, and then I did make that mount a 2-piece, and so I did have to knock it out here. So that's my transmission mount that I made, and I did have to take that off in order to let the transmission drop down, and so I had a jack under there, so I let it drop down in order to get, you know, that super steep angle I need in order to get it out. I also had to do kind of a 2-step thing. I originally had the chain hooked right here, and I lifted it straight up in order to get the tension off of the motor mounts. And so I got the tension off of the motor mounts, and then I was able to get those bolts out of there. When I hooked the chain up on the front, since it would want to twist it, it would end up binding this back bolt. And so I just lifted it straight up, got those bolts out, and then when I had the jack up underneath it, I was able to get the transmission cross member disconnected, and then that just dropped down. And then I moved the chain to the very, very edge of it in order to get as much angle as I possibly could. Certainly, if this was the sort of thing that I did more often, I'd get one of those adjuster jobbers that allows you to do all the crazy angles, you know, get it flat and up and whatever. As I have it right here, like there's nothing I could do if I wanted to change the angle on it, flatten it out or whatever. I can't, you know, because it's stuck wherever you got that hook at. So, yeah, it's going pretty good. So I'll get the rest of it out and get this thing on the ground. And then I got to take the engine off of the transmission and then get that mounted in there, because the next step is to take that head off and send that out to get cleaned. And then I did end up having to order a new water pump. And so this water pump runs off of some crazy hydro fan thing, so I ended up ordering another one. So I got a bunch of things that I got to, you know, clean up. I got a new timing set for it, and so I got to get that installed, new tensioner pulley, actually new crank pulley and everything. So there's all kinds of stuff. And then I got to just clean it. I mean, it is filthy. And then I need to paint it, and then the pan is just like stuck on there with a couple of bolts. So, you know, when I get the head sent off, even if that takes, you know, a week or whatever for them to get it done, it's not like they'd be holding me up, because I only get to work on this crap on the weekend, and it should be fine. So let me get this the rest of the way out of here. Hopefully no drama, but if there is, y'all can get a laugh out of it. See how tight that is. I mean, that oil pan is right up there in the back of the transmission. Just barely. Like it's factory. Alright, so that's down. I'll just get a jack up underneath the bottom of it, get the tension up off of there, so then I can get the transmission off, and then I'll get it mounted to the stand, which that sucks, always getting that thing lined up to where it spins nicely and everything. But got her down, and on to the next thing, mechanical work, which will be pretty fun. Alright, great. See you in the next one. Thanks.